Hi guys, and welcome to part 2 of making the Hemingway kits large bore lathe steady rest for any lathe, but the one specific to mine came with the foot for a Myford, but it's still got to be milled to 3.5 inches for the chuck centre, but they do one for all your Boxfords and all sorts. So I've done quite a bit, and I've actually got into part 3, which is not out yet, obviously. Excuse me, Chinese fatigue. What happened, and I don't know if I've explained this before, my memory, is my PC that I do all my editing with went pop, and it's got an SSD drive in it, a hard drive in it, and I have an external one that I use for all my videos. The internal SSD one has Windows on it, had Windows 10 on it, and it went pop, so it won't boot up. So I've had to get it in for repair. I've had to put a new SSD drive in. It's like the bigger one I've had fitted, but he's put Windows 11 on it now, and I've lost everything. It can't read the SSD drive. It can't get any data off it. It's tried. It says it's locked up solid. It's had it. Well, they don't lock up, do they? Because there's no moving parts, but it's jiggered. He said you won't get out of it. Embedded in there is all the programs I had, my Paint Shop Pro, the Coral Draw stuff, and my Pinnacle Studio. Tried to get back onto Pinnacle Studio today. Now I've got the computer back, and loads of issues. Don't recognise my pass number that I put in. They keep bothering me to get Pinnacle Studio 26 Ultimate, which I've got 25 Ultimate, and every time I buy another one, and I've gone from Pinnacle 14, all the numbers up, and I've purchased them every year or 18 months, and each time it's going to be better and better and better, and it never is. They never know better. There's always a point where the damn program locks up. Now, so what I've done today, Saturday the 17th, went out for breakfast with my friends, picked my computer up, come back, went through all this, realised Pinnacle, it's going to take me another fortnight to try and get a serial number back off from there in America. It's part of the Coral Group, and I've purchased the new one, so that's another £90 odd down to shoot. It was £139 for this SSD drive and Windows 11 putting on. Then he says, oh, put your Norton on it, and I've got activated it, and I says, I don't want Norton on it. I says, I never asked you to do that. And he said, oh, well, I put it on because I thought you might, and I said, I use Bitdefender, I pay for that every year, it's on my phone, it's on the laptop. I said, it does five devices. So with that, I'm going to have to take Norton off as well, because that's still on it. I haven't got around to doing that Bitdefender, but I have got my serial number for that, so I can reinstall it. So this is why I haven't done part 2. I did part 1, which you've seen, and it was right bits here, and I couldn't edit it properly. I downloaded HitFilm, which was a free download, and half of the stuff don't work on it, and they're wanting money off you all the time, and I thought, I'm not paying for something I've already got. But of course I hadn't had it. It's gone. So I've downloaded Pinnacle Studio 26 Ultimate. It seems extremely stable at the moment, and I've done the video for part 2 tonight, and I'm going to upload it tonight later on. So this is the introduction to it that I hadn't done previously, and the end bit you'll see at the end. Okay guys, that's all it was, just to tell you what's been going on. I'm sorry, why I haven't been on YouTube for a while. Computers, electronics. Thank you. Right. That's pretty much deburred. Oh, there's a little one there. One there to get out. Its first operation apparently with this is to cut it in half. There's 3 cuts to do. One goes down centre, which is going to be 2 hinges, a male and a female that slide in together, and a pin through. And this end is the clamp. That and that face go together. And then there's some measuring to do before you start milling these faces. If you can see that. Let's lift this camera up and then I can see that. So these faces here have got to be milled
and it gives you the specific, once that's been cut and that's been cut, that piece comes away, that's been cut, this is in 2 halves. These have got to be milled to give you a specific distance. And then, as I said, this one here is the hinge, and that has to have a male at the bottom, which is that, so that'll be the male, which will be just the middle bit left, and the outside edges will be taken away, and this will have the outside edges but no middle, and they'll slot together. And then a quarter steel silver pin goes through there, which has got to be either a press fit and slack in middle on the male part, or opposite way around and tight on the male and slack on the female side, or you do what a lot of people do and they Loctite them in. I'm not a favourite of Loctiting, but apparently everybody does it, so maybe that might be the way, don't know. This then is the clamp, which will have a slot cut in here, a drill hole in here, and a swivelling bolt which has got to be made, and a thumb screw on the top to tighten it on down there, so that'll be drilled. Then these have got to be drilled with a lot of holes. There's the master, which carries the main bore with the fingers on, and then there's the follow, which is a threaded rod which you drill and thread through here. I'm not sure if it's the back or the front, which is the M6 threaded rod with a thumb screw on, which draws the fingers in and out. And then a locking mechanism, which is quite unique actually. In the middle it'll have an M6 with a locking screw and a washer, and then here and here will be drilled and reamed clear through to the centre bar, and 2 dowel pins go in that are a slack fit, a quarter or M6, 6mm, sorry, dowel pins that will slide in and out of there, and they're what press on the finger to stop it sliding down any further, and that's got a flat on it. And then this M6 thread in middle and thumb screw is to press down. It's an inch in diameter and a washer on it, and it presses down on the 2 dowel pins, which push them in and lock them onto the main shaft, which is quite a nice idea. So one of the first operations to do is that this has got to be faced off at the back. Now it tells you to cut it into 2 halves, assuming you haven't got a milling machine and you're doing it on a lathe, and then do the 2 halves. But I'm trying to think logically, surely it wants milling before it's chopped in half, and then you know that any dimensioning you do will be referenced to either side, will be exactly the same. Measured it in inches or anything. So I've got one of those boring bar kits that come with all the bars for down, but they don't come with anything to go in that hole, and I bought this separately, which is a left hand tool, because they're all right hand tools for boring down from the bottom, and I bought this to go with it. So that's going to go in there like so, and that will give me the swing that I need, not to cover the whole of that, but by moving backwards and forwards I'm cover the whole swing of that. That's my plan. So I'm going to get all this set up, and when I start cutting it I'll bring you back. Well guys, the problem I've found is that this and this, I'll tilt this screen up so I can see if you can see me. Yeah, right. These are all different heights, so when I turned it the other way around it were rocking all over the place. So I've measured these, the depth of them, and on the drawing, according to the drawing, there should be 1.250 inches, 1 1/4 inches each, which is 31.8 millimeters depth. Well, there's only one of them that's that depth, and the rest of them are different. All the 4 are different. The back is quite flat to start with, so I've clamped it, and that is flat on. So I'm going to skim them so they're all identical. So I'll find out which is the deepest, and I'll just take a few thou off, but basically there are 3 of them are undersized already. So I've taken an equal skim off each of these. Well, that one's going over again. I had to move the part across because this distance I can't get to both ends, so I had to actually move that across, then spin this round and do the other one. I don't like moving piece, but what can you do? Okay, I think I just need to run over that again right carefully, but yeah, we're done. So it's time to spin over and hope I can get it flat. Right, so I've machined the rod pads, if you like, down, and it now lays flat on here, which is what I wanted, so I can get a skim off, so the reference will be the same from the back to the front. And as I was talking about earlier, I'll have to use a fly cutter because I haven't got that much Y movement. So that's 8.5 inches. I don't have 8.5 inches on my Y. I've got tons on X. It's a huge table on X. For a little mill, it's amazing. It's 28.5 inches long is the actual bed itself, plus its bits and bats on end. So I've got a good length there, and I've got over 16 inches of knee movement on it. Plus you've got the quill as well on top of that. There's 4-inch quill, so it's a brilliant thing. Turn that back off. But the Y isn't that much, so I've got to use a fly cutter, and I dug this out. Now, any of you that's bought one of these will know that you get like an assortment of about 9 cutters, and you get 9 in the box, and you can put them in wherever you want and bore your hole. But of course this has got to go clockwise because the arbour's screwed on, so it can only go clockwise. A friend of mine bought one and he put that into there. Of course it won't go clockwise. If you want to cut, it'll only go anti-clockwise. So he welded, it unscrewed itself and went flying all over his workshop. He ended up welding that on. Now I think that's sacrilege, starting to do stuff like that. So I've done something just as bad. I ordered a right-handed, which is actually on left, but that's what they call them, cutting boring bar. What I didn't realise, though, when I put it in, is that it wouldn't, the tip wasn't as low as the face underneath, so it wouldn't cut. So I've done something nearly as bad as he has, and I put it in vice and I bridged 7 bells or something out of it, and I've bent it. I wanted to do it in press, but there's no way I could hold the bar, so the bar would still go in and get a bend, so I've had to do it by other means, which we won't talk about. So it's done, so I can now use it, and I'll set it all up and then get this clamped. As I say, I'll have to do half and then unclamp it, move the clamps across and do the other half. I've got to hold it somehow. Right, so we've had a reasonable amount of success on this. So as you know, the first thing I did was I machined those pads, which came out okay. Then I turned it over and sat it on the milling table and found that I had nothing to cut it with, so I messed about, got that fly cutter working out of that boring tool and clamped it down, but I could only get 3 clamps at a time, so I had to do like a corner and move the clamping arrangement. And I did make a cock up, and I'll show you it If you can see it there, that line, a right little mark in it, it dug in because that pad sprung up, and I'd not noticed when I'd nipped them. I must have nipped this back one first, and then that one, and then that one, but it had lifted slightly and it caught. I thought, surely, you tell me in comments if you think I'm wrong, but surely you better machining that as one before you start. And now I know that and every one of them is now 30.8 millimeters. You can see that. Every one of them measures 30.8. So there should be 31.8. So they're a mil down on what they should be. But again, it don't matter. There's nothing specific about that distance, only that you have to bore an 1/2 inch hole in for the rods to go through. Then there's a 6 mil hole to drill and a threaded rod screws in. That's what I need to do when I go in. I need to go on eBay and order some stainless M6 rod. It's stronger, obviously. Okay guys, so that's how far I've got. But now it's lovely and flat. I've no problems with rocking now. Before it was chattering. That's bang on now, is that. So I've got everything I can measure, because all the measurements are taken from that back up to all the holes that you drill. My next job, once I've cut it in half, is to drill these parallel, and that hole's got to line up with that hole. Once these have been cut, you've brought together, you're going to machine them so that that and that are perfectly in line, and machine it till they are. Well, that's as far as we've got in this one, and we've made quite a bit of progress on that. The next part you'll see I make even more progress. I cut the hinge, I make the swivel bolt, and also the little thumb wheel that holds the thing together. I've ordered some long series drill bits to drill right through so I can catch one side and the other, although I'm not sure if my milling machine is going to be deep enough to do that, which I think I explain in the next part of the series. Anyway, thanks for watching so far. Please guys, put us a thumbs up and even comment. Apparently comments make difference, so if you think I'm a rat bag or something, just tell me. But if you like what I'm doing, you enjoy it, if you've got any tips on what you'd like to see within the video that I'm doing that I'm not showing, you might say put some music or something on. Well, you know, I don't think so, because I think that's not the way to go with these little engineering projects. But anyway, I hope you liked it, and please watch part 3. Just if you put the little bell on, if you've subscribed to my channel, you will get notified when there is another one up. Okay, thanks guys.